Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a new episode of StarCraft II Study. Today, we're gonna go over a build order for Zerg vs Terran. I know I've been doing quite a bunch of these. I actually did one recently on a 3-base timing push with Roaches and Banelings because, you know, this is one of the most popular timing pushes right now that a lot of high-level players are executing. But today we're gonna go not over a 3-base timing push, but we're gonna go over a 2-base timing push. Now, this is one of the build orders that has been incredibly popular lately because pretty much every Codas level Zerg, which is like the highest level of play in StarCraft II, has been going for either this build or a variation of it. Now, we actually saw it recently in the Codas finals with Sulky versus Innovation, but today we're gonna take a specific look at a game that RorO played versus Innovation yesterday in the WCS final. So it's going to be a 2-base timing push with Roaches and Banelings. Not gonna be Speed Banelings, not gonna be Speed Roaches, not gonna be +1 armor like in the previous build order that we discussed, but it is going to hit quite a lot earlier and you will be able to drone quite easily behind it as well and then transition into the second push that we basically talked about in the previous video. So let's have a look at the build. So this build order opens up really normal. First of all, a 9 Overlord. Then at 15 supply, once you hit around 200 minerals, you send a drone to the low ground and build it into a hatchery. So it's gonna be a 9 Overlord and a 15 hatch. After that, you make 2 more drones and at 16 supply, you throw down your spawning pool. And a little later, at 17 supply, you throw down a Gas Geyser. Then, also at 17 supply, you make an Overlord. So far it has been a hatchery first, followed up by a spawning pool, followed up by a Gas Geyser with in between Overlords. Then, when the spawning pool finishes, you want to start a queen, as well as a queen in a natural, and you start droning up even harder. At 100 gas, you're gonna pull 2 drones off gas and you will start Zergling Speed. So you leave 1 drone mining in gas, and you then re-rally everything to the natural, because you don't want to have any more than 18 drones in the main base. Once the queens spawn, you start a second queen in a natural, but you're gonna stay on 3 queens for the time being. Then at 31, you make another Overlord. So up until this point, the only thing you're really making is drones, controlling your queens, and you know, it's just a really standard build order. The first change comes when you actually finish up Zergling Speed. Once Zergling Speed finishes, you put drones back in gas, you start a second gas, and you start a Roach Warren. Right around the 6-minute mark, I did get a 3rd base up, just for the larva and for the time being, just to, you know, usually the Terran will scout it, just to kind of confuse the Terran, but we're not gonna really drone that up just yet. At this point, you make a bunch of Overlords and you wait for your Roach Warren to finish up, while just controlling your queens and controlling your creep. Once the Roach Warren finishes, you make a whole lot of Roaches and you also start a Baning Nest as soon as you possibly can. At this point, all you're gonna do is make more Roaches and more Zerglings, just as many as you possibly can, and you also want to start moving to your opponent's side of the map. Once you have a decent amount of Zerglings on the watchtower, you start morphing a bunch of Banelings right there, and you wait for them to morph up, while making more and more Zerglings and Roaches to reinforce this entire thing. Once the Banelings are done, you can simply start pushing. Just keep in mind there will most likely be Widow Mines, so you want to be splitting up your Zerglings at least a little bit to take a few hits. At this point, you want to be droning up your 3rd base while executing the push. So in this case, well, there's actually no opponent for B, but normally you would be killing most of what he has, at the very least in a natural, but most of the time you will also be able to get into the main base. Now keep in mind, while doing this, I'm still keeping all the injects up, and I'm also gonna start making sure that I drone up my 3rd base. Now, in this situation, you want to drone it up as soon as you possibly can. So yeah, a relatively easy build order to execute if you ask me. Once again, this is a really good build order and it's absolutely crucial to, while you're doing your aggression, that you're droning up your 3rd base. It is going to require quite a bunch of damage that you have to do, but most of the time you'll quite easily be able to kill at least like 10 to 15 to maybe even 30 SCVs at the natural, and sometimes you can just straight up kill your opponent. However, if you decide to drone up your 3rd base while doing the push, realize that you can actually transition in the push that we basically talked about previously. So what you would do in that stage is actually throw up either 1 or 2 Evo chambers, go for a lair, start Baneling Speed, start Roach Speed, and while droning up your 3rd base and while getting max saturation on 3 bases, you do like a second stage of Roach Baneling pushes, but this time with +1/+1, with Roach Speed and with Baneling Speed. If you want more details on that, I would recommend checking out the video. It will be in a link in the description of this video as well, so go check that one out. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye! I recommend opening up the build and simply like putting it on your other monitor if you have that luxury, or you're just opening up in a second window so you can take a look at the build order. So you actually